Hi, this is Elvina, and I want to share with you some ideas using your embossing folders to watercolor. Okay, to use them, you don't even have to use stamps. Use them for your backgrounds. Okay, this is the, what do you call it, the Bark 3D embossing folder. So that's what I'm going to use first, and I'll just show you how I do it. It's pretty simple. I've got 3 colors picked out. I'm using cinnamon cider, old olive, and crushed curry, and I'm using spots. I don't have a spot for the cinnamon cider, so I'm going to use the ink pad. So it's a little bit harder with the big ink pad, but since I'm just going to go across the one end, I'm just going to go like this with that. So you get lots of ink on there. Okay, now let me close that, get that out of the way, and then I'm going to do the green. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Rub the green on here. And then I need a little sky, so that will be my crushed curry. Oops, this one's attached, so let me just rub this on here. Doesn't show up quite as much as the dark color, but you can see it's there. Okay, so now I could do what I'm going to do right now. I could just do it like that, but I wanted to have a watercolor look. So I'm going to spritz it with some water so that it'll run a little bit. So just see if you can watch what happens when I spritz, okay? So now I got the water on there, and depending on your folder, you're going to get a different look. So now what I'm going to do is just lay my paper down. Actually, a lot of times what I do is I lay it on the other side, and then I bring it over. It's just easier. And the first time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finger press. So I'm just pressing on here to get a finger design. This is when you just want a background, okay? Trying to be careful so I don't touch on the edges. I don't want to get ink on my fingers. I've had so much ink on my fingers lately. Okay, there you go. So you've got a little background that you could use for whatever. You could use it this way. If you wanted stripes type, you can use it this way. I'm thinking to put a tree on this. So this is my ground, my grass, and my sky. Okay, so let me set that one aside. And then it just cleans up with water, but I'm going to do another one. So I'm just going to color over top. So let me do a little more crushed curry over the top here. And then a little bit of old olive across the middle here. Okay, whoops, sorry, I guess I shook the camera when I did that. There's still quite a bit of the cinnamon, but I'll just add a little bit more here. Cinnamon cider. This time I'm going to run it through my emboss and cut machine. So I've got my paper. I'll lay it down carefully here so I have it oops, and then I'm going to spritz here. So let me just spritz with some water so it runs. It'll run a little more now when it's going to be enclosed. I'm closing it down here, and now I'm going to run it through my machine. So just hang on for a minute. Bear with me while I run it through here. I don't want to mess up my table. You can hear me clattering away as oops, I forgot. Of course I'm hurrying, so then I use the wrong sandwich. I need 1 and 4, not 1 and 3. This will be interesting to see how it turns out. Okay, let's get that through there. And I didn't make too big of a mess. Sometimes I'll have ink all over if I put too much water on there, I can get ink all over the board. Okay, so now I'll take it like this. Aha, here we go. Okay, so see the difference. Okay, now this one, of course, you've got the impressed image as well. And this one, you've just got the design. Okay, that was my finger press where I just pressed with my finger. This one I ran it through the machine. Okay, so a little bit different look for the both of them. This is what I was thinking to do. I'm thinking to put tree on there. Let's see, and maybe I'll add a little dimension. This is from Beauty of the Earth. either way, perfect card for that, I think. This is a perfect background for that. So now, and just to show you, to prove to you it does just clean up with water, I just spritz it. Wipe it on my towel here. When you run it through the machine, you end up with ink on both sides. And I need to give you a pointer here too about which side to ink up. Okay, now if you look at the Stampin' Up! Embossing folders, they have their name on the front. Okay, let me look. Let me just put this in here. See, we're pretty clean. Pretty clean, yep. Okay. They have this on the front. This is generally the front of your card. This is the side that's going to be, well, let me see. I need to have a different, here, image. I'm trying to, I don't have another image right here. Anyway, this is indented so that your image shows up. Okay, and I guess I'll show you that on the flowers. This is the part that pushes it. So this is raised. So that's why I look where the label is and I ink this side, because this side has the stuff sticking up. Oh, okay, like here's the seashell one. The seashell one. So I did this seashell right there. And so you do it that way to get the impressions of the seashell. But for this, I inked back here and I just laid this paper on there and finger pressed it. And so then you'll notice I just got some designs on there. Okay. And then here's another example. I was experimenting. I just got this, so I haven't had much time to play with it. I think it's Art and Bloom. Anyway, this is the front where the label is. And I put my card in this way. I inked this side because otherwise it wouldn't pick it up. This, what I'm talking about, the folder wouldn't pick up the ink. This is all indented, so there would just be ink on all these smooth spaces. And I wanted ink on the leaves and the flowers, so then I put the ink on the back side. So just remember that. Mainly for your images, for when you're embossing regularly, you want it to be with the label side up. But when you're inking it, ink it on the back side. Not the label side, but the back side. And then lay your paper on there and ink. This one I ran through the folder too. This is kind of bright to do for a background, so I maybe would do the leaves and then I would actually do the flowers and pop them up. We'll see. I don't know. I've just got this and I haven't had a chance to play with it much yet. Okay, so that's one way to put ink on your folder and then spritz it with water, then lay your paper on and either finger press it or fold it up, run it through your machine and get a design. Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to show you. Okay, now the next one is using watercolor paper. So we have this Fluid 100 watercolor paper that's 5 by 7, which is nice. It cuts in half. It's going to be 3 3/4 by 5. So it makes for a nice layer on a card. Okay. So first what I did was this one I just went with the brick and mortar. I just put it through. This is watercolor paper. I ran it dry. You can wet it if you want, but I ran it dry through the embossing folder. And now I'm going to put a wash on the background. So I'm going to use Pacific Point. One way you can do this is you can squeeze your ink pads together. Squeeze them like this. Open it, and then you've got some ink in the lid. Okay, I'm going to use the water painter. So I don't want it to be, oh here, I don't need this on here now. I don't want it to be real hard, real dark. So I need to squeeze a little water. So let me get this where you can see what I'm doing. I squeeze this a little bit. I'm having a little trouble with my thumb, so bear with me as I try to work around my thumb. Okay, there, see? Now I've got some nice color there. And I'm just going to do a little wash. I sometimes touch it over here just to get some of the dark off. I want to do a wash on my background. Okay. So there, it's just very simple. It just looks like there's like it's a wall downtown on a storefront or something, or the side wall of a store. Okay, there you go. You can leave it like that if you like. Or, it's pretty bright. If you want, go ahead and spritz it again. This is watercolor paper, so it likes water. So go ahead and spritz it again. I just have old hand towels that I use. And then it will run a little bit more and get a little bit fainter, lighter maybe. And if you want to take the brush and move it a little more, you can. Anyway, just fun. It's just fun. You can do, whoops, I don't want to have circles there. I just want to have it going out. Okay, there you go. Now let me just show you quick before I do that. I don't like to fold it back up with a lot of water. This one doesn't really have much water, but I'm just going to dab it a little bit in case there's a fair amount of water in there. I don't want to put water back in my ink pad. Okay, so now I'm done with that one. Let me show you a sample I made. If you can see, okay, I got the bricks here, and then I did, I think that's petal pink that I did for a wash in the background. I've got the strawberries in the front. So, fun, just a fun, easy way, using the embossing folder, but adding some color to it. Okay, to give you a layer. So that's one. All right, now the next one, I ran the embossing folder through my machine with the seashell embossing folder. So now I have a couple of colors to finish, and this I want to show you again. Okay, now this is petal pink. I need to clean that here. Let me see if I can squeeze this enough. I don't know if I showed you. You just kind of squeeze the lid to the base. Yep, and then you get a little bit of ink there. And I need to clean off my brush here. I want to clean off my brush so I don't have any blue in there. Nope, that looks pretty good. So now let me put a little water in there. Okay, now I'm going to take this petal and color on this. This is going to be just a light pink, coloring on this shell. Now, when I look at this, this really doesn't do much for me. This kind of looks a little bit like, kids coloring. Young kids, It really doesn't do much for me. So, and that's fine. You'll see why. I'll fix that in a minute. There, get some of that excess water off of there. Take this one out of here. And then I've got the crushed curry. Okay, I don't need very much of that. I'm going to make sure my brush is clean, so I'm just squeezing it on my towel here. And I squeeze it there. Yep, it's white. So I pick up a little bit of the crushed curry and put it on this seashell. I'm always trying to rush here. I did a bunch of the coloring beforehand because you don't really want to have the wet when you're working with the watercolor paper, you want one area to dry before you go moving on to the next area. So there. Let's see, I think I got that colored up there kind of. Okay, so let me just squeeze that out, make sure that's clean. Okay, put that over there, and now I'm done with the crushed curry. Okay, now like I said, I didn't think it really looks like all that much there. It's, you can see all the lines in it. You can see where I have some darker and lighter and so on. So I am going to spritz this also. This was done on watercolor paper again. So now let me spritz it, and I'm going to kind of try and spritz by areas. So let me spritz up here a little bit. Let's see, I got this under the camera so you can see. And the colors will start to run a little. Let's see, now I'm going to spritz this over here on this side. Now I'll spritz a little down here, over here. And again, like I said, it's watercolor paper. You can see now it's the colors are moving. Partly it's moving because it's curved. So let me see if I can just kind of hold this down a little bit. I got some of the yellow is running out into the leaves. That's okay. But that's what I want. I want the colors to run a little bit so they fill in some of those white areas. Let me just spritz right there. I didn't really get there very good. And up there a little bit. I've got my card pretty wet here. But see, now that yellow has filled out the white area. And the pink is filling out a little bit. We'll see if some of that blue will move. And you can tip it and move it a little bit. And if something's too wet, if you don't like it, take your paper towel and just kind of dab it a little bit. The other thing I do is I sometimes use my heat tool to move the colors around a little bit. Okay, it's going to be noisy. Sorry about that. See if I can get it up here. Anyway, the watercolor paper is very forgiving and you can play with that quite a bit. There, now I got those colors moving a little bit. So that's what I want them in there. Move them down. Here, I need to put some more in this corner. And what I can do too is after it dries, if I decide that I didn't get enough color in this corner, I can go back and add some more color. And then spritz it again, and then it'll run and connect. I like how these are getting connected up here now. Okay, I'm not going to take time for this to dry, but I'll show you one that I did before. Okay, so let me set this off up here. Okay, this is one I did, and the greens all ran. I had blue in the background, but the green kind of ran over the blue, and then it ran off of the leaves and turned them kind of brown looking, but who cares? This is the ocean. I mean, they're all different colors under there. I really like how it looks because you don't see any of those white spaces much anymore in there. Anyway, so that's just my opinion anyway. I like how that turned out. And then I just stamped a starfish in the crushed curry, and then I just, with watercolor paper, and I just kind of spritzed that so the colors ran in there too a little bit. Okay, so that's that technique. Okay, now this last one here, I want to show you. This is hard to tell what it is, probably. This is the Evergreen embossing folder, and so I did part of it ahead of time. I wanted to get my sun in there and have it dry. I wanted to get my basic sky in there and have it dry. So I'm going to color the trees while here for you now. So let me lay out some paper towels here and show you how I do this. Now, I told you I squeeze the lids together. You can also put your ink on one of our blocks. So I'm going to do these in order so I don't forget. So I've got Old Olive. I'm going to put a drop of Old Olive on here. Okay, I think you can see that. And then I'm going to do, I believe it's Garden Green. Yep. I got Garden Green here. And then I'm going to do Shaded Spruce. So we'll put Shaded Spruce down here. Okay. And then I'm going to use my bigger painty, the water painter. And I think I'll start with the Old Olive. So I'm going to squeeze it. So I get a little water coming out. I don't know if I'm doing this so you can see, but there comes some water drops. Okay. Okay. There we go. So now I'm just going to kind of follow along with the trees as they are in the embossing folder. So I'm just kind of trying to go down the edge of the trees. This is Old Olive. Okay, there's another little tree right here. And go down here. That one. This one. And up here by the sun. This one over here. See, I'm using up my Old Olive. I might want to do some on this side too. Okay. See how this goes? Here. Okay, so now I use that up, and that's okay because I'm trying more than one color. So get some water on my garden green and mix that around a little bit. It's a little darker. I'll put that down here. Whoa. Yep, that was a lot darker. But trees are all different shades of green, so, and this is a little tricky painting this under the camera here. Interesting. Here, I need to pick up some more. I'm just kind of doing it like that because it goes kind of with the grain of the trees. Okay, let me do a little more. And I'm going to spritz it at the end, so it's going to run together. So you'll see, how that looks. We'll try it. And of course, every card you do is going to be a little bit different because the colors will run differently and depends on how much of each color you get on there and so on. Okay, so now let's go ahead and squeeze some water into the shaded spruce. See, the blocks work nice because they just clean up easy too. Okay, so shaded spruce is down here at the bottom. There, that looks like a tree right there. Maybe I should do it on this tree. Yeah, I talk to myself while I'm stamping. Do you do that? While I'm working? Okay. Just want to get some across the bottom here. Get it painted on there. Let's see, I'm going to squeeze a little bit out, a little bit of the color out. I'll squeeze it onto my towel here. I'll go back to the garden green. Get some of that. Just trying to see here. I'm looking kind of close to see what I've missed. Anything. Tree way up there. Okay. That's pretty good. Then there's one other thing I want to do, and I want to add a little bit of purple to the sky. So that's why I did the sky and the sun before, so that they would be dry. Okay, this is far enough away from the sky so I can use that and color up there and not run into the trees with the wet. Okay, so see, now I can just take this and wipe it off on there. And clean it with water if I need to. Okay. Now, got another little cloth here, and let's just try this. I'm turning it upside down because it's easier for me to work. Okay, another way you can add color. I find these newer pads are really hard to squeeze and get anything in the lid. It's really hard. So, the other way to do it is just to take your re-inker and put a drop of ink right here. There you go. So I got a drop of ink in the lid. And then I'm going to take the little water painter. Okay, I'm squeezing this here till I get some water down. There. I'm going to thin that out. I don't want that to be too dark a purple. Okay, so I'm going to do a little purple, maybe up here in this part of the sky. I don't know, I'm not real artistic, so I always tell people I can give you the clues on how to do something, but it's really up to you to apply the talent. I just have a little fun. I'll show you the technique and you can figure out how it goes. Let's see. I don't know if I should do any more or not. I feel like there's an awful lot of white here. I'm going to have to move that color around. We'll see. Well, you know what? I'm just going to stop with this for now. I think just have this much purple sky. Okay. So I'll set this aside for a little bit. And now we are going to spritz. And let's see what happens when we spritz here. Okay. Ready, set. I'm going to do the sun first, kind of. You can watch it change. Whoops. I got the green running into the sun there. Maybe I want to pick it up and move it this way. Might rather have the sky running into my sun. Okay. Now, spritz a little over here. Got those trees to... down here, get that to go. And like I said, if you think there's too much water somewhere, go ahead and blot it a little bit. There. I blotted that a little bit. My sun is filling in. I'm getting a little blue in my... Let's see if we can get these to fill in over here between the sky and the trees. And again, I'm just going to push this down a little bit. And see, like I said, I can take my heat tool and around a little bit. Okay, anyway, do you kind of get the idea? I've got a little too much there. I'll soak some of that up. Okay. So, this again, I can play with it some more, but I do like, it's totally getting to be a different look. I'm going to have to work on that middle part right there. And I might go back and add a little bit of green or a little bit more blue sky there. And I might draw the purple down. In fact, I can do that while it's wet. I probably can draw some of that sky down. So it is fun to play with your watercolor paper. And this is an embossing folder. I'm not even using stamps with this. I'm just using my embossing folder. So don't let them just sit there and expect them to be just for designs in your paper for background. Use them for, like I said, like this, for watercoloring and doing some fun stuff with them. Okay, well, anyway, I could play with this, and I don't want to keep you here while I do that. I'll show you the card I did. Okay, so here, see everything just kind of ran together. I added a couple of trees on the front and a verse, thinking of you, and not a color you would think, but the Blackberry Bliss, I just thought it looked kind of nice with the Highland Heather there. It brought out that little bit of purple in the sky, and there you go. So there's another card. So let me just show you my 3 cards again. These are all done with embossing folders. This one, embossing folder, and then a little cutout. This is embossing folder with a little cutout. And then this is embossing folder background with, as much as you want to build on the front of it. So I think that's all I needed to tell you. Let me just show you real quick so that if you need to stop the picture, this is kind of the instructions. So this is here. I'll hold this here for a minute. Then you've got the instructions of what you need to do if you want to copy this idea. Okay, thanks for looking. Have a great day. Bye.